Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, but you can call me Pajama Grandma, in my pajamas, of course. And I want to talk a couple of minutes about how you can use the bad shit that happens in your life to your advantage. Now, I'm sorry I'm swearing. Pajama Grandma doesn't swear very often, but this is actually what I'm thinking about today. And I've got my You Got This cup because some stuff's been going on in my life that other people would consider bad shit. Now, I don't consider it bad stuff. I consider it life happening, and it's up to me to decide and determine what I'm going to do about it. One of the things that I'm working on, I got divorced a few years ago, and I'm finally getting around to moving. Now, a lot of people would think moving sucks, and I agree. Moving is terrible, and a lot of it is because I set myself up to make the move really difficult. I put it off. I procrastinated. I didn't want to do it because I told myself I don't like moving, and it was bad, and it's bad that I have to move. It's bad that I got divorced. It's bad that I have to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's bad that this happened to my kid. It's bad that this happened to my daughter. It's bad that this happened to my friend. It's bad. And we go on, and we can think about how terrible things are. And they're actually not. They're just neutral. Stuff that happens. It isn't really shit. It's just stuff that happens. And it happens to all of us. Good stuff happens and bad stuff happens. We get jobs, we lose jobs. We be involved in relationships that are awesome, we lose those relationships, or something happens and that relationship changes. We start businesses that work and are super successful. We start businesses that we struggle with and absolutely fail miserably at. And people would, and I'm sure I've been guilty of it too in the past, of blaming other things, blaming the environment, blaming competition, blaming the economy. But really the blame generally lies with me and something I either did or didn't do, something I did or didn't see. Maybe the laws were changing and I didn't see it because I wasn't paying attention. I was too involved in some other aspect of my life, and I didn't pay attention to something I should have done, and I should have known and should have been aware of, because it would have been my responsibility as the business owner. And I didn't do it, and it caused extra drama, extra trauma, and extra struggles that I didn't need to necessarily have. So I am really turning the corner in terms of how I look at the crap that happens in my life and what I do about it. And instead of just reacting willy-nilly and going off half-cocked like I would have in my 20s or my 30s, and maybe sometimes in my 40s, I now stop and I say, okay, wait a minute. Yep, this happened. It's bad. People would consider it bad. But what am I going to do about it? And what am I going to learn from it? My biggest thing is, what am I going to learn from this so that it doesn't happen again? What am I going to do about it right now? And I try to be proactive now instead of reactive to the things that happen, because I know things are just going to always happen. If we believe that we're going to accomplish or do anything in our lives and we're going to get through our lives and it's all going to be rose-colored glasses and nothing is ever going to challenge us or happen to us that causes us to think differently or behave differently or act differently or feel differently, we're crazy, because stuff is just going to always keep happening. And it's always a matter of, how do I decide to respond to this? So getting divorced, I could be a ball of mush and be devastated and think, oh my God, this is awful. It's all my fault. Or I can think, okay, we're getting divorced. This is why. This is what happened. And it doesn't even matter what happened or what the cause of it is. What matters is how I choose to feel and react and respond to that event in my life. Sometimes we have health challenges, not just relationship challenges, although I think relationship challenges almost hurt as much as health challenges do, at least for me, because I think our lives are about experiencing and relationships and how we experience other people. And that's why I think sometimes those are as painful or more painful than physical things. Now, you might say, well, a broken heart isn't as bad as breaking your leg. And I would say, yeah, maybe it is, because your leg heals in 6 to 8 weeks or whatever, but your heart might take longer depending on how you think or feel about it. So stuff happens to us, but I get to decide how I'm going to respond to that. I think my ex-husband and I probably had one of the most amicable divorces on the planet, because we decided ahead of time, we're going to figure it all out. We're going to decide everything, and then we're going to go into court, and the judge is just going to bless it, and it's going to be done. And I think because we did that, we both came out of that situation, and we're still friends, and we can get along. Now, it doesn't mean he doesn't drive me crazy still, because he does. That's why we're divorced. He's a control freak. And if you know me, married to a control freak, that just doesn't fit. And so it's funny when we think back on things that we considered some of the worst events and the biggest problems and challenges of our life, those end up being the greatest blessings because they allowed us to pivot and turn and look at things differently than we ever would have. Now, if you know me for any amount of time, in 2010, I had a sudden cardiac arrest and I died. And most people would think, oh my God, you died. That's terrible. And I could have approached it that way and I could have felt sorry for myself. And if I did, I'd probably be dead now because I wouldn't have taken the steps and made the changes I needed to make in my lifestyle to make sure that I am still here in 2019. It's only been 8 years, a little over 8 years, but since that event. But I wouldn't be here if I hadn't decided to change the way I think, the way I feel, the way I look at certain events. And that being one of them. And I knew that, okay, this happened. I can either feel sorry for myself, I can make excuses, I can blame other people, I can blame my stressful life, I can blame the circumstances. But who created that stressful life? I did. And did I come to that realization and that epiphany overnight? No. It took me about a year of trying to figure out what the hell had happened to me, of studying and researching and searching for answers to try to figure out how I had, and again, key, how I had let myself get into the position where I had let my health go so much that it would actually kill me. And then once I realized that, everything changed. Once I guess, took personal responsibility for everything in my life, everything changed. Does that mean bad stuff outside of me isn't going to continue to happen to me? Nope. It happens pretty much every day. Some stuff happens, right? Good stuff, bad stuff. It's all how I decide to interpret it. Guess what? It's all how you decide to interpret it. You get to decide how you're going to react to everything. Everything that anybody says to you, anything you see in the media, anything you hear about, think about, feel about, anything that stimulates you from the outside, you get to decide how you're going to respond to that. You like Donald Trump, you hate Donald Trump, you get to decide whether you're going to like or hate him. You like politics, you hate politics, you get to decide how you're going to feel about politics and how you're going to let it impact your life and how you feel about certain things. Absolutely everything's like that. People at school, people at work, people in your church, people in your community, people online that are haters. You get to decide how you're going to respond to those. And I think we go through phases of that. I know when I first got my first couple of haters online, because I'm new to the online world, I was like, what the heck's wrong with me? What did I do to make them so mad? How come I deserve this? And then after about 3 or 4 of them, you're like, now, wait a minute. This isn't about me at all. This is about them spewing out whatever's going on in their life and their belief. It's kind of like when you're in traffic and people have road rage. Have you ever had road rage? Yeah, when I was younger, I was in such a hurry to scurry and run through my life that once in a while I get PO'd at other drivers. And then one day I realized they are in their own little world. They have no idea. Now, granted, there are the a-holes here and there that will try to mess with you on the road because it gives them some kind of a power trip. But then again, that's all about them. It's not about me. And once I realized that and I extended that little lesson to other areas of my life, it made things so much easier to deal with. So what are you dealing with? What kind of shit is happening in your life right now? If you want to chat about it, just direct message me and we'll chat about it. And we'll see if we can't find a different perspective, a different way of looking at that, because that's where our power lies, in just saying, all right, yep, this is happening, but what am I going to do about it? Because guess what? I can only control my reaction and how I'm going to deal with the situation. And I'm going to use that situation to catapult me toward the next thing that I want. So my divorce is going to catapult me to the relationship that's really right for me. My business failures have catapulted me to the area of success that I want with my businesses and to creating a business that I really love and want. My dying has catapulted me to actually taking care of myself and decent health. I'm sure I'm much more healthy at almost 59, at 58, than I ever was in my 30s and 40s. I was bad. I mean, my 20s, I was pretty healthy, but my 30s and 40s, after I had my kids, boom, and worked like a mad woman, everything went downhill and everything came before my health. And that was a huge lesson. So what is going on in your life that you can use to your advantage? And it might be declaring bankruptcy. It might be a divorce. It might be a health challenge or a health issue. How can you turn that around and make that your strength? Think about that today. And if you'd like to chat about it, hit me up and Thanks for listening to me rant about this. Sometimes stuff's on my mind and I just need to get it out. Go out, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon.